Hey guys. Well, it looks like we have an open uh, October now. The A's couldn't put it together and dropped Game 4 um, and are eliminated from playoffs. And the Astros will move on, face the winner of the Tampa Bay and Yankee series. I believe Tampa Bay is winning that one 2-1. Uh, yeah, it was a good season, but that's not enough. Um, the A's really went in here in kind of underwhelming fashion. They were not hitting in the final weeks of the season, um, and that finally putting together runs, but most of the runs came on homers, and a lot of them were solo shots, and that's just not going to do it. No element of small ball, no just putting the ball in play or stealing bases, bunting, um, advancing the runners. These they got lucky. I don't really feel like they played like they should have been there. And Houston, maybe because they have experience, they've gone to the World Series a few times or a couple times in the last few years. And they won one, and they got close last year. Cheating or not, um, they rose to the occasion. I'm not going to say they were cheating or anything, because the A's pitching left balls up high and put them right there for them to hit. There wasn't anything special about it. The A's couldn't hit a freaking fastball. It was just not the way we really wanted it to go, and then the A's suffer the same problem they always do. They're not built for the postseason, and I mean, this is a good group, but we really kind of had lackluster starting pitching. Um, we guys like well, they all got kind of touched up there early on. Not many. I think only Chris Bassett really has made it beyond 5 or 6 innings, and that's just not enough to win. You've got to have guys going out there 6, 7 innings, keeping the runs down. I mean, every time you thought the A's were on top, they give it up. They gave up two 5-run innings yesterday and today, 5-run innings, which is what really killed them. But then, of course, they gave up even more than that today. They gave up 11 runs today, and that's not going to keep you going. And those 5 runs came with no outs at all. It could have been much worse. The A's weren't playing. I mean, we're down Chapman. I think there's a few plays where I think his defensive play would have saved runs. Not in this game, but in past game, there was one where Pinder was like this close, and like just that extra reach that Chapman has would have probably saved 2 runs in that game. And we could be playing. Sorry, packaged. We could be playing again tomorrow. This wouldn't have been an elimination game possibly. But we can sit there and go if. It doesn't matter if they're not putting the runs together and not playing smart baseball. I don't know what this means for next season. Marcus Semien is a free agent. What's his face? Liam Hendricks, also a free agent. The qualifying offer for Marcus Semien would be $18.6 million, I believe, next year. It's 18 something, and I don't know if the A's are going to put out that kind of money for him. It is a down year; they don't have the revenue, but neither does everybody else. So I don't know how many teams are going to be out there looking for a Marcus Semien. But I don't know how many are going to be willing to pay upwards of somewhere between 18 and $20 million for him, including the A's. I'm hoping that the A's will put something on the table, maybe a 1-year deal, 1-year deal, and we'll talk and see what the money's like at the end of next season. But But they're also going to have to lock up Olsen and Chapman if they do it at all. Um, there's not a whole lot going on uh, as far as that is. But if the A's don't have the money, what other teams also don't have the money? Um, who needs a shortstop? There's a lot of really good shortstops out there. Honestly, Marcus Semien has been he's been all right. Last year he was the last year was the really the time to lock him up and for him to get the money. They should have got that extension last year because this year, like I said, his production was down. His defense was, his defensive numbers were down. Uh, he was just sort of average this year. There's a few moments where he was somewhat hot, but he's been down, and it's really hard to measure this season's numbers because it's such a weird season in the first place. But the guy, when you look at it, his numbers are down. There may be other guys like Nick Allen, may be ready to come up, and we'll see what happens. And, hopefully, everything goes right next season, and we have a long, proper preseason in spring training, and we can actually evaluate guys and see where we are. But unfortunately, we didn't have that this season. Minor leagues didn't happen, so we don't even know what those guys look like. We don't know what coming into next season, how much rust they're going to have, and what they're going to be bringing to the team. So Marcus Semien might be out. I don't see the A's with a viable closer unless they go out into the free agent market, and then a lot of people are putting Liam Hendricks in the $15 million range. Somewhere between 12 and 15 next season, and that might put him out of reach. Again, what do teams have as far as money if they're not willing to put, what are they willing to put out in free agents next season? That's going to be a really big question. Sure, maybe some of your bigger teams, your bigger money teams like New York and Los Angeles could put forth that kind of cash, but I don't know how that hurts small teams. Let's say Kansas City or I don't know, smaller teams. I'm having a hard time. The Indians or Detroit or something. These slightly smaller market teams. I don't know what that means for those guys. So it should be interesting to see how this off season plays out. And I hope it's not the last time we see Marcus Semien in an A's uniform. Or nor Liam Hendricks. I hope they come back. I think we have a good core, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think a longer season would have done two things. One, it would have shaken out some of the rust, given these guys longer to work through problems and really show themselves. At the same time, it would also given ample time for these guys to show that they can or cannot play at this level. And for the short season, they did great. I think I kept hearing that the number worked out to 97 wins. If you do the math, which would be the same that they had the last 2 years, 97 and 97. They won the division. That's a plus. I thought they would do a lot better against the Astros. I don't know what's up with them. The Astros limped into the playoffs with a losing record. They weren't hitting, and suddenly these guys are just mashing. I don't know if it means that they're that good or the A's are that bad. Again, I'm not going to throw the cheating thing out there. There's no evidence that they were, but I swear to God, if I find out in 2 or 3 years from now that the Astros kept cheating after they got busted, I'd be pretty pissed. But they came out and they played, and the A's just didn't. The A's were lackluster. They had no energy. Um, Getting hammered like they did really does take it out of you. Um, I never played professional ball or anything like that, but you put you put those runs up and then they take them right back, and you put them up and they take them right back. You're just like, what do I have to do to get to that next level? And yeah, the A's totally do need better pitching. Um, they had such high hopes for this group at the beginning of the season. Oh, we're gonna have AJ Puck, and we're gonna have Luzardo and Montas, and they're all gonna be in Manaya and Fires, and this is all gonna be gravy, and these guys are gonna come out there and they're gonna deal, and they didn't deal nothing. Um, all these guys finished, with the exception of Bassett, you know, 4, 5 ERAs. We picked up Mike Minor, and that guy was he had like one good outing. He was trashed. Honestly, he came in and he was lackluster. They were really kind of afraid to put him in. They started using him out of the bullpen, and then the bullpen. He did all right out of the bullpen. Maybe they'll pick him up and let him just do 1 or 2 innings next season. And maybe put him in for a long relief. Petit, he had some really great moments, and then he had some complete duds. I really like Jordan Weems. I think the guy has a lot of upside. He's big. He touches. He gets close to 100. Great. We did better than the Giants. Yeah. Honestly, not saying a whole lot, but I wish we could say we're going to the championship series, but it didn't work out that way. Yeah, it is better, I guess. You ever feel like it's another participation trophy season? It's we went, but I mean, you can't sit there and keep banking on we went to the playoffs. We went 9 times out of 12 years or whatever it is. It feels like you're just making excuses after a while, and this team has to learn. When I say this team, this ownership needs to learn that we're really going to have to either really develop guys. We're going to really have to develop guys, or we're going to have to pay for quality pitching. Again, what we got this season was not what was billed. Manaya, actually, very few of these guys. Manaya only went past the 5th inning a couple times. Fires did okay. Chris Bassett was actually pretty stellar this year. I think he's the only guy in the playoffs that went beyond the 5th inning. I think he went 7 innings the other day. Luzardo, I think, will be good. He needs to work on his location more. I'm feeling like Puck might be a lost cause. He's been called up a couple times now, and every single time, he pitches a game or two, and then he's right back out. Whether it's his shoulder, he had Tommy John surgery. The guy is the guy. I think he might be a liability. He might be another. Jarrell Cotton. We picked him up, thinking he had all this great upside. Pitched a couple innings, and he was back on the DL. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he was in Chicago, and I think he did okay this season. But he hasn't been a guy who's been able to give you a full season yet. Not even a half a season. So it's hard to really say if this is a guy who's going to go long term. I have a feeling we're just going to end up releasing him or packaging him up and dumping him on somebody else. Right. Full spring training and a full season. Because if you don't have, the spring training is going to get them the reps, and they're going to have a bigger chance to prove themselves. But again, a full season is going to also do the same thing. A long season is also going to let them again work through issues. If they're not competing, they can go back down to the minors and if they go back down the minors, they can get developed some more, and then come back up when they're healed or they've developed whatever it is that they're working on, and so on. And uh, again, not even having a minor league season was hugely detrimental because you got guys going down. You got a handful of guys doing the spring league or what do they call it? The taxi squad or whatever. They're down in San Jose, but that's not a full team. These guys aren't really playing ball. I think this year was Bob Melvin's prove it time. Bob Melvin has blown games by leaving guys in for way too long, too many times. I think he was better during this playoff series. He kept a short leash, wasn't letting guys get out there too long before pulling them, and letting these things get to their head. I think he left Montas out there actually a little long today. Montas should have been on a very short leash, and we didn't have Petit to go in there and clean house. I know I could sit here and point fingers all day, and really, when it comes down to it, the A's just didn't deliver. They couldn't put the hits together. The pitching couldn't locate like they needed to. A lot of mistakes, and there were little plays here and there. Sure, Olsen got robbed of a home run. Okay, sure. Okay, that's one run. But was it really that big of that much momentum or what? Yeah, I think given the ability, you said that you don't think. I think Hendricks is the bigger issue. I think he's the more important piece. I think they'll call up somebody like Nate Allen or somebody, and to fill up Semion's position if they're not willing to drop $17 or $18 million on him. I wouldn't give him a qualifying offer because it's $18 million, and the A's, and I don't think most teams are willing to put out $18 million for a guy who really didn't deliver like he did last year. If we can rewind 1 year, and last year was his, if last year was Semion's moment to be, if his contract ended last year, he became a free agent last year, I think Semien would be. I think Semien would actually get re-signed because he was that good. He finished third in MVP voting, but this year is, like I said, his defensive and his offensive numbers completely down. I don't know if Hendricks will go to San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco's got the money to pay for Hendricks. I don't think a lot of teams have the money to be paying for Hendricks. I would pay for Hendricks over Semien because I don't think the A's, if they want to keep competing at this level and keep trying, right now is their window. The window for the A's is right now. They're going to run out of time with Olsen, and they're going to run out of time with Chapman, and they're going to. We're talking guys who would probably easily command $25 million a year, maybe 30. That's going to be a hard pill to swallow. Is there? I don't know. I don't know if there's somebody out there who can get this done better than Bob Melvin. That remains to be seen. A lot of the old blood, they're gone. Melvin has been kind of I think he's done all he can with this team. He's done what he can for getting these guys going and doing as much as he can with nothing. I don't know. I mean, Bochy did say that he didn't say he's like retiring for good. He did say he was gonna maybe come back to baseball at some point. I don't know if the A's would buy Bochy. I don't know if they. That's a good question. I don't know. Melvin. I think Melvin is probably the best thing out there for this team. Not this team as far as the players that are on the field, but the best thing for the A's front office because Sure, he commands a decent salary, but um, given the garbage that the A's the owners and specifically Billy Bean put out on the field, hey, this is what you got. Dusty Baker. Well, we'll see where he's at with this. I don't think the Astros are calling back AJ Hinch. We'll see what happens when you know I'm hoping that the Astros blow it. Um, but every time I say that, they keep winning. You're probably the only Astros fan in the chat. Yeah. The guy. Oh man, this is tough. Um, Look, Dusty did pretty well with what he did. Um, if I was in baseball, I probably wouldn't touch AJ Hinch. I wouldn't. I'd probably, the guy. Uh, I think he'd be a bigger distraction to most teams. Um, oh, that's a tough one. You don't want that guy, but yeah, Victor. Yes, I don't mind. It was fun. A lot of homers. The difference between the A's and the Astros was having guys on base when they were hitting. Um, a lot of teams are rebuilding. Detroit might be rebuilding, but they're going to have to deal with Chicago, and Chicago is going to be a beast in the next year or two. They're already a beast. They ran us to the limit, and they're still developing. I when I saw them last year, I was like, okay, this is a team on the brink, and then no, the A's shouldn't move to Portland or Las Vegas. It doesn't matter. God, Albert Sancho, that's such a. I'm gonna be on frank with you. You're full of shit. Why would the A's want to go to a place that nobody wants them either? They can't put asses in the seat in Oakland. Why are they gonna put asses in the seat in Las Vegas or in Portland? Why? How? Or Sacramento? Why? They're building in Oakland. God. That's such troll BS, dude. Jeez. The A's are sticking around. Yeah, thank you, John Marks. The A's are not moving. They have done too much work, spent too much money, and uh, they've done too much to just go. Oh, we're going to go to Portland. I don't see that happen. Hey, I could be wrong. I thought the Raiders would stay. Bay Area has only been Giants territory for the last few years. You were here in in the late 80s, 88, 89. Even when in 89, the A's were still putting more butts in seats than the Giants. You couldn't see a Giants game on TV. But the A's had the TV, the radio market dominated. They were on the covers of sport. Nobody was looking at Will Clark and Candy Maldonado. They were looking at Mark McGuire and and Jose Canseco and Ricky Henderson. The Giants have the market for now, and if the A's can win, that's the biggest thing. It's kind of a double-edged sword when you look at money and all that stuff. I looked at the chat and then I got distracted. Anyways, oh, I was talking about money. If you put out a good team who play consistently well, and you lock them up long term, I've heard so many fans they don't care about a stadium. They care about the players and a team that's built to win. And the A's have not had a team that was built to win since the early 2000s. They'll drop a little bit of money here and there, but they're never going to give a player a great deal. They're never going to lock up that great guy because they can say, well, I can take one great guy and I can get 3 okay guys. You think not having fans helped? I mean that. I I'm sorry, I can't see all the messages. They show up and then they go away. No, sorry, my kid's bugging me for some stuff. I don't know what he wants. Um, Again, the chat keeps moving. Oh, it shows up and goes away. It's my pet peeve with this app. And here it is. It's right next to the camera. Um, I think, yeah, not having fans really helped the Astros because nobody got to ride them all season. Um, they, I think fans would have, gave them hell, and they were already playing pretty poorly. But it is what it is. I hate to have to use that same, but it is what it is. We can sit here and rehash the whole thing, but at the end of the day, we got the same old A's doing the same old thing. Nothing's really changed. I hope 2021 is a different story. My phone is probably going to die in the middle of this, but hopefully there's some changes next season. Doesn't mean we're saying fire Bob Melvin, but I think some changes do need to be made somewhere. I think if we have to make a decision at second base. Do we keep Tommy La Stella? Do we keep Tony Kemp? Are we going to sit there and swap him around? What are we going to do with Chad Pinder? The dude has earned a spot, bar none. If anybody, the guy has earned his spot. I would not be using Pinder next year as just some utility guy. The guy deserves to play every day. I would probably take him at second or shortstop if we can't lock up Semien again. I do like La Stella. La Stella has been a competent hitter. He's probably a decent 1 or 2 spot guy, and that's an important thing to have. And again, we got to make those decisions because there are guys that do need a roster spot somewhere. I think we'll probably give up on Vimian Machine. He was lackluster this year. I would have dropped him off the playoff roster too because the guy hadn't contributed to really anything all season. Hopefully Matt Chapman's 100% next season. There's so much going on. I don't know what we're gonna do with the outfield. We got Mark Canha. I think he deserves to stick around for a while. Grossman's been pretty damn good. Piscotty's been iffy this year, but he has his moments. And then, and of course, Ramon Laureano. He was doing great until he got suspended, and then he kind of was on a down end or down whatever. He sucked at the end, and then he started pulling it back together. Anyways, I'm gonna cut this short because my battery is gonna die. I thought I was charging it, but apparently I wasn't. Love when that happens. But guys, keep your head up. Let's try not to be too down about this. It was a good season. We can I don't know, cheer on the Rays or the Dodgers or somebody to beat the Astros. And hopefully we don't jinx it. But I don't know. We'll see you at FanFest. We'll see what goes on. I'll probably be back and forth, through the Championship Series and the World Series. But unfortunately, I think this is the end of our A's talk for the season. I'm gonna end this now because we've got some troll jobs going here. But okay, guys, take care. And if I don't see you, well, happy Halloween.